पॅसेज 17 नोव्हेंबर 1982 पेपर फर्स्ट. मिस्टर डेप्युटी स्पीकर सर, may I with your permission intervene and say a few words in regard to the various matters that have been discussed. My colleague, the finance minister, who is in charge of this particular budget, will no doubt deal with the specific matters that have been raised in the course of this debate. Although this budget is the individual responsibility of the finance minister, it is also the responsibility of the entire government. As Prime Minister, I am entirely responsible for it as well as any other member of the government. This budget was placed before the House after the usual consideration by the government, and the latter is completely committed to it. That does not mean that we are not willing to consider any new proposals. We are certainly willing to do so, so long as the basic structure of the budget is not affected. My friend, the Honorable Professor Shah, pointed out various difficulties in the way of a debate here and in the way of a consideration of the budget proposals. He pointed out how little could be done in the allotted time. I am in complete agreement with him in this matter. If there are any practical proposals which would enable us to give more time for the consideration of these problems, either formally or informally, I am quite sure that the finance minister will gladly consider them. The real difficulty is, however, more basic, and it is this: the kind of problems which the government has to face now is so vast and intricate that it is impossible for any democratic parliamentary assembly to give enough time for its consideration. It is just a question of time. This is not a new difficulty. I remember that long debates on this subject took place in a country like the United Kingdom, where they found that they could not get along with the old procedure of discussing everything in the House itself. So, even parliamentary procedure in the United Kingdom has gradually changed, and many matters are left more to the committees than to the House itself. Usually, a principle is decided by the House and its working out is left to committees. The House simply cannot find the time to consider everything. That is a difficulty inherent in the situation. If we can find a remedy for it, it will be good for us. We will also set an example to other democratically included countries who are seeking such remedies. In spite of the fact that Parliament is in continuous session, it is not able to find time to consider in detail all the important matters that come up. We have, in fact, much less time because we are not in continuous session. I suppose our sessions will inevitably become longer and longer so as to enable us to deal with more and more problems and have more and more discussions. Anyhow, I have stated what the difficulty is at present. Though I am in sympathy with what Professor Shah said, I have no easy remedy for that difficulty. We are prepared to consider any ideas or suggestions about how to give greater facilities for more intensive discussion of any great problem. An honorable member referred to the budget speech as being directly or indirectly a survey of all manner of problems in domestic international, economic, foreign, etc. The House can hardly expect the Finance Minister's budget speech to be a survey of all these tremendous problems, although they have no doubt some bearing on the budget. Para. As I listened to the Honorable Member who spoke just now, I was wondering whether we had the larger picture in mind or were getting lost in a few minor and secondary matters. For instance, having referred to the government's extravagance, the Honorable Member went on to say certain things in regard to our bringing forward a bill for giving pension to the president. That signified to me an approach which I would call 100% wrong. Para. I propose to say a few words in regard to our general approach rather than about specific problems. I am sorry to confess that I have not been here throughout the budget discussions. I have listened with care to some speeches when I was here. I have also taken care to read the full reports of the speeches made when I was absent. I have found a lot of criticism to the effect that the government is not functioning efficiently. Para. I am in entire agreement with a large measure of what was said by respected friend and colleague Acharya Kripalani. Nevertheless, I must disagree with many of the conclusions that he arrived at. Of course, it is possible to pick out many things in the doings of this government with which one may not agree. Honorable members have every right to look at the present picture of the country critically. Criticism is useful and desirable in keeping the government up to the mark. At the same time, one has to see the full picture. One has to balance things. One has to realize that the problems we have to face are difficult and intricate ones for which we cannot find easy solution. We have to compare our problems with those of other countries. We have to look for the common factor and find out how far our problems are due to our own failings and how far due to world conditions. There are many aspects to the problem which we have to consider. If they are to be helpful, honorable members must look at every aspect, good and bad. They must try to understand the basic problem that faces the country before they start to find a solution. Para. There is a good deal of talk about inefficiency and corruption. To a great extent, this criticism is valid. Every intelligent person agrees that there should be efficiency and that there should be a government that is clean from top to bottom. It is our objective to achieve such conditions where they are absent, but it is a matter of ways and means. We should always strive to improve things. We should invite the cooperation of other people in doing so. We should approach this problem in constructive way.